Okay, we have just got to the end of day 15 of the Undercover Policing Inquiry, Tranche 3, Phase 1. We've been listening to the questioning of Alex Owolade, who was a Movement for Justice activist, targeted by HN41 Dave Hagan, as well as Peter Francis. We had a lot of questions about the role of Movement for Justice, particularly around the Stephen Lawrence Justice Campaign and events at the inquiry, which Movement for Justice were quite active in protesting outside and attending in the public gallery. I'm joined by Ben. What have you made of what we've heard today?
Well, it was a bit of an emotional roller coaster, really. I found and touched on the usual police institutional racism, but also managed to bring in the homophobic attitudes of the police as well. And it's my first day back in the public hearings, and it was interesting to see that we've come back to an issue that was touched on in earlier hearings, the public inquiry. I don't know which one of the Lawrence murders, at which there was a bit of argy-bargy or a bit of yelling or tomatoes thrown or something. So it was interesting.
Oh, yeah, D5.
That. Yeah, because we saw some video of that during one of the other hearings, and it I kind of vaguely remember it from the time. It kind of jogged my memory. So it's interesting to see they keep coming back to this, asking different people about the same incident, which again we've also seen in recent times with the Welling riots footage being shown again and talking about that.
I mean, it was interesting actually to hear stuff about the Stephen Lawrence public inquiry, and like the way in which activists kind of filled the public gallery, so much so the second public gallery had to be set up. Not very much not the case here at the Undercover Policing Public Inquiry, which I'm afraid is not particularly well attended. I mean, it was a lot more lively there. You know, when the five who were accused of murdering Stephen Lawrence did attend. Well, it's actually when they left, they got pelted with, I think it was eggs. It wasn't mentioned today, but I'm pretty sure it was either pelted with eggs as well.
I think it was mentioned as vegetables or fruit.
Yeah, but I mean, I remember doing a front cover for a class war back at the time. Never forgive, never forget. If anybody's got that lying around, and I'm pretty sure there was at least some eggs thrown. I'm obviously as a vegan, I'm against that. But the very sort of confrontational, sort of like mobilizing nature of those protests at a public inquiry. Not been a hallmark of this public inquiry, which I think is a bit of a shame, really. There's
always room for fruit and vegetables. Always room.
Yeah. If anybody wants to start coming along to the public inquiry and doing anything like that, then we didn't give you an idea,
check the schedule first.
Yeah, because most of the witnesses of the public inquiry are not people who should be throwing anything out. But yeah, I mean, the Alex Owolade took a very different approach to how he answered the questions than what we've heard from most witnesses at the inquiry. In many cases, he simply disregarded the question. He said at the very beginning that he wasn't going to play along with the allegations that were in the undercover policing reports. That when he was asked questions, he would speak to the issues he felt were important, not framed in the manner in which the former SDS officers had presented them.
Yeah, totally. I found him a really, really good witness. At no stage did I feel he was put on the back foot. He was always in control. He knew what he wanted to say. He knew he was in the right about everything at every stage. I found him a really, really powerful witness. And it went from comedy to tragedy to tears.
Yeah, he did get very emotional, and not long before the end, it was pointed out to him that something from one of Peter Francis' reports was saying that the homosexuality of targets was listed. This was important because it was considered a form of talent spotting for potential informers, particularly if someone was a closeted homosexual, then they could have used that.
And they called this nice.
Yeah.
I can't remember what
nice. It's mice.
Mice, is it?
Yeah, money, ideology, compromise, and ego.
Yes. So these are the things I'd look out for, which would give you the opportunity to turn some basically vulnerable people who could then be got at by, I guess, the security services rather than by the police, but I guess both.
Yeah, it was obviously him as being an openly gay man wasn't like in danger as a closeted person, but he worked for a great many years with the Black LGBT organization, who kind of supported a lot of people who were closeted. He talked about knowing a lot of people in the movement who were closeted, and just the pressure that that could have been put on them. And he got quite emotional. He paid tribute to his mother for raising him to be proud of who he was. It was. It was very strong stuff, actually. I found it quite moving. We had a short break at that point. He really kind of explained about this was a continuation of the way in which the British state kind of acted towards homosexuals before homosexuality was legalized. And really, that there's so many of these things. Something he talked about early on is that like he wants, that equality is never made permanent. It's something that always has to be fought for. And he just like kind of reference that again, really, with this topic.
Very timely indeed, because obviously we see a lot of backtracking on a whole bunch of issues going on at the moment. But like, if you don't stand your ground and fight for it, you lose it.
Yeah, absolutely. He did end by saying that it's almost certain that these sort of practices of the undercover police continue to this day. He mentioned particularly the Palestine Solidarity movement, and he really encouraged people to take heed for the fact that the movement he was part of, the generation of Black and Asian activists who fought against racism, were able to win in the campaigns that they fought on.
He gave quite a few examples. At various times he was saying how proud he was of this particular issue or campaign. I think one that particularly that he talked about was the "Don't Walk By" or something, which would encourage people not to walk past when police were stopping and searching, but to be there and to. He found a better term than surround, but it was essentially surround the cops. And he talks about how it became a much safer space to be around. You could walk down the streets and not be constantly on stressing that you were going to be stopped. The number of stop and searches went down as a result of that particular campaign, and he was particularly proud of that one, for example.
Yeah, he was. He used the word pride quite a lot of times. He was very unapologetic about the successes of the campaigns he was involved with. He was very proud of the support that he gave to Dwayne Brooks, the relationship he had with Dwayne Brooks, and the way in which Dwayne Brooks was targeted in a malicious prosecution by the police. Then Dwayne Brooks brought a case against the police, and the movement for justice were kind of supportive of him throughout that period. We saw a lot of reports from HN41, Dave Hagan, that talked about like gossip and scandal, essentially, about the Lawrence family. Alex was very clear that had not come from him. He doesn't know where that had come from. It wasn't things that he knew about at the time. And it was something he called back to at the end. It was like how desperate the police were to undermine movements. How desperate. We saw lots of examples of times in which there was some sort of political disagreement between activists in the Stephen Lawrence campaign, and how these were, like, as he said, blown out of all proportion and made out to be much bigger deals than they were. But these were cordial relationships. They're political disagreements. That doesn't mean that they were at each other's throats, like the report suggested.
The other thing that came up again, which we've heard many a time, is undercover officers kind of in their reporting placing themselves in much greater proximity to people than they are in reality. He was asked questions such as whether it was true, and he was like, well, I'm not really the person to ask, but no, I don't think so.
That was in relation to Dave Hagan claiming to be mates with Dwayne Brooks.
Yeah, exactly. And quite a few other occasions where he's asked questions where he says, well, that wasn't my organization. I can't really comment. I don't know why you're asking me, which is also quite a common theme, I think.
Yeah, no, it's an incredibly common theme. And I think this is something where the inquiry really has kind of failed to do like it's constantly this thing of people being asked questions that they really can't answer. Yeah. And it's this way in which things are done, the order in which they're done, is that there can't be any sort of reference back. I've constantly been reminded by Donald O'Driscoll of the Undercover Research Group that the inquiry is not entertainment, and that there may be great many things going on that are not part of the process that we're seeing.
Yeah, there's always this kind of thing where you're not really sure where they're going with this line of questioning. You think,
Yeah,
oh, you could do a better job. Why are you asking about this? It's irrelevant. But there's a whole, like, you don't know what long-term plot game
Right.
or strategy is being played out by the counsel to the inquiry to eke out the things that they're most interested in. So a lot of the time you're sitting there thinking, wow, why?
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. That was that's everything from Alex Owolade today. He's finished giving his evidence. We'll be back again tomorrow with Suresh Grover. Is there anything else you want to say about Alex before we sign off?
No, I don't think so.
Fair play. I will be back tomorrow with Suresh Grover giving evidence. I'll be doing a Twitter Spaces this evening. Let us know if these broadcasters are working. It's new tech. I'm not sure I'm doing it completely right. But thanks for joining us, and we'll see you again tomorrow. Bye for now.